You know, part of doing a podcast is having some fun. If you don't enjoy the people you're talking to and don't believe in what they're doing, it doesn't make any sense at all. I'm Bill Gross. Welcome to our Cash Flow Chronicles podcast. This is the official podcast for the LA County Real Estate Investors Association. One of the companies I met who's a vendor there, which means they're there live with their last month, will be there this coming month, is Modpadz, M-O-D-P-A-D-Z. Modpadz is the organization. And I met the guys there and had a lot of fun. And I got right away that they were they were smarter than your average bear. These are guys who've been around for a while, have a pretty intensely unique approach to the market of adding additional units on the property. We did an interview with them on YouTube that did real well, and so I invited them back to be our guest today on the Cash Flow Chronicles podcast. Glad to have back today Thomas Brown and Nick from modpadz.com. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Is it snowing there, Nick? What's the background about? Are those stars?
Stars, Modpadz lit background.
Oh man. Well, you know, it's so lit, Nick Kahn, that I couldn't read your name because of the coloration there. I was so taken back by the beauty of your starlit and the beauty of your Modpadz there. I couldn't read your name. That's funny. So let's talk about Modpadz. You know, I know that in fact this coming month at the Lyric at the LA County event live will be the topic of ADUs, additional dwelling units. Now, your product is not unique for additional dwelling units. It kind of fits in that category and can fit separately. I know this is an area that's gotten a lot of attention. I know as a realtor, though, it's also one that's created a lot of frustration where there's been a gap between the promises and the execution. So explain to me kind of how you have worked at, I think, and you did on the video we did before, how do you narrow the gap to meeting customers' needs by executing at a higher level than some of the other programs that have really been a struggle?
So I can take that, or Tom can take that. We're both well versed in it now. As we spoke about it last time, so we really have three different products, right? From the outset, we're going to say we are not competing with your 2,000 square foot or 4,000 square foot home. Okay, we are a supplement to that industry, right? So if you're looking to add, as you said, additional space, a she shed or a man cave or a swimming pool that is modular, right? We come into that space. Now, there is definitely a tier of our product that looks more so like a traditional home, but those are for like if you're out in the country or something and you just need something real quick, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house that expands into your land and you can just hook up water, sewage, whatever, ready to go. We have those as well, right? So the way we came about this is we saw the need because I'm in construction as well. Okay, so I've been in real estate investing for, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, depending on how you count. So I know the pain of how long it takes, the frustration of contractors and permits and all that good stuff that goes into even creating something very small. So by accident, I stumbled onto a couple of these products and ended up selling them. And then I said, okay, well, let's do it the right way. And then I did some research. I got a couple of companies under contract. And then we refined the process that we're making these capsules, pods, and whatnot. And we added our own flair to it. We ended up getting some certifications. We have engineering stamps. So we did it the right way, right? So now when the customer comes to us, we have more knowledge than any other average seller who just wants to be the middleman and basically they're just selling a product that somebody else is making. We can actually say that this is the product that we're making. And on top of that, now since you're coming to a company that is US based, you can customize this as you see fit. 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, change the colors, outside, inside. You work with us. We'll give you the blueprint, and we'll even help you if a city or county or whatnot needs some specifications or stamped engineering documents. We'll even provide you those. Okay, so that's why we are a little different than all the other suppliers out there in the market.
Yeah, Bill, I just would add to that for the meeting. Seth Phillips, ADU Gold, is going to talk about some really nice, gorgeous ADUs that are a permanent addition to your home. You have an option with us. You could keep it on wheels like a tiny home, and that will accelerate the process of putting it in place because
Right.
we don't have to have the same level of permits. as something that's a build. Also, because we're prefab, we save on the cost compared to one being built, even on a trailer, locally. And so we get to take advantage of those economies of scale.
Right.
And as Nick was mentioning, in terms of the types of units, it's this flexibility where someone's working from home and needs a quiet space away from the family. Maybe they don't need the kitchen, what if they do want a guest room because they want to have their relatives come and stay? Maybe they will put in the bathroom, and so on and so on. And so these are the types of options that are configurable for these units.
I love I'm drawing a blank on his name, Gold.
Seth Phillips.
Seth Phillips, ADU Gold. He's been at this for a while. He's done a lot of this. My problem is, that's not my world. If you live in Brentwood in a $4 million house and you want to add on a beautiful addition, the ADU really works well if you're in Santa Monica. But I work a lot with fix and flippers or people who just want to add on one unit to get some additional income. And what happens is the more traditional ADU, in my experience, it sounds good. We get an escrow, they work out the numbers, they realize it costs a lot more and will take a lot longer than they planned on. The numbers, the ROI is not there, then the deal kind of falls apart. And so I want to talk about a couple different use cases specifically, because that's what I do as a salesperson is, I get customers of certain needs. So let's talk about need one is I'm a fix and flipper. I see a single family home that has room for an ADU, but the cost, time, and effort of a traditional built product or garage conversions are always more complicated than they set out to be. It's easy. It's a garage. Well, it may or may not be. That's not always true. So we'll talk about a little bit about your products you would have for a additional unit that would be for the purpose of generating a second income flow on a fix and flip property.
Yeah, I mean, let me start with that, Nick, because
sure.
I live in Burbank, and I sort of started my investigation more than 2 years ago with the idea of putting an ADU in my backyard as an additional source of income. But I couldn't get it under $200,000
right.
from these traditional sources, and so I sort of said, well, I could buy a property out of state to generate income with that kind of dollars.
Right.
And at the time, a couple of years ago, that wasn't a divisible item in terms of being able to even sell it. So the laws have changed here in California. It makes it a little bit more flexible. But that's what the attraction is, of the price point of our solution here, is that you're getting in for substantially less money. I mean, you still got to do the site prep and the permitting, if you're going to add utilities. But now you're talking about, like a $30,000 unit being dropped in rather than, a 20-foot cabin, rather than, a 6-month, 8-month long build project for a $200,000, albeit a significant increase to your property value, but not to your utility. And, when you're talking about a renter, they don't need that gorgeous ADU per se. And just to pivot on that in terms of what I've done with one of my investment properties, I've got a property in Florida, and it had a garage behind it. And the garage was pretty beat up, but we fixed it up. And, the main house, from a cash flow point of view, carried everything in terms of the mortgage. So having the garage unit as a unit, right, which it was a pre-existing unit, it already had a bathroom in it. It was already an ADU anyways. So, but by fixing it up and actually renting it out, that's an extra $1,300 to that property, which is just pure profit.
Right.
So I thought, well, shoot, what if we could do that to every one of my investment properties? And this is, of course, the perfect use case for adding, additional streams of income to an investment property.
So what would you guess be somebody who wanted to put in a 2-bedroom rental unit in Burbank today? What would the all-in cost be between the unit? Let's just pick an average of your products, but there's still permits. There's still, other costs involved. What do you think the all-in cost to drop a unit in on an average would be?
If I was putting in the large 40-foot expandable, which expands to either, it can even be considered a 3-bedroom, really,
Mhm.
right? So that turns it into a unit that's about 40 by practically 20. So it's almost an 800 square foot unit,
It's good
right?
size.
So, that unit is, again, you're probably going to add a few things, but we'll say around 32,000, something
Yeah,
like that,
somewhere there. Yeah.
because I'm going to want air conditioning. I'm going to want the kitchen if I'm going to have it be a rental.
Yeah.
The thing about the permits in a place like Burbank, it probably takes 6 months to a year for just the permits, which is, unfortunately, we're not going to be the holdup in that case. It's going
Right.
to be the
Yeah,
permitting.
we're not.
Right.
And a lot of our customers actually in California, they're preempting the permit process, and we are helping them with it, right? So it's going to be like a 2 parallel tracks. So we're
Right.
telling them, hey, execute your order at a certain point. So
Right.
you'll meet up with a permit, and voila, you'll have the unit dropped in. So what Tom just mentioned, right? So that is the expandable unit, right? That is more utilitarian, right? But you can make it real nice if you wanted to, right? Then there's the middle tier, which is we call the advanced cabin. Okay. Now these are the cabins that look like an iPhone from the outside, very modern. And then you can also deck them out with 2 bedrooms, a bath, living room, a full kitchen. Pretty much, you can have it like an island style or a galley style. So you can really that is more of a like an open canvas, if you want to think of that, where people are starting to play with it. Can you do this? Can you do that? So it's no different than building your traditional ADU. It's just you're not building it on site. You don't have to deal with the dust and all that stuff. So that's the advanced cabin on the my right-hand side, the white one on the right-hand side. So you can really, really let your imaginations be loose and do whatever. And customers are doing that. So if you see the advanced cabin, some of the orders that you see over there are actually customer orders. So they designed it. Oh, I just want a studio in my backyard. And this is actually for a California guy who just wanted a studio in the backyard. He didn't even want a bathroom. It's his choice because it's in his backyard. He just wants a studio, okay? And he's going to deck it out with soundproof paneling inside and whatnot. The other one is, I think we mentioned this in the last episode, where the state of Connecticut, there's a big realty company, CBRE. They came to us, and they want these advanced cabins to be their pool houses. So and this is not for residential right now, it's commercial. So they're having to build us these 40-foot long pool houses that has a men's and a women's separation and a changing room with a full bathroom. And on top of that, we are making it ADA compliant for them.
Nice.
So the roll-in shower heights and all that. So we're going to take care of all of it.
So the unit's $30,000-$40,000. I imagine if you're going to put in kitchen and bathroom, there's some plumbing issues. What do you think the all-in budget, permit costs, design costs? What do you think the all-in cost would be to drop like I said, a 2-bedroom unit in Burbank, California is going to be? So
again, the cost is gonna differ, and Tom can vouch for it because he lives in California, I live in Texas, right? So it all depends on your site as well, right? Where is your clean outs? Where is your sewage line I can tap into? Where is the water line? How far it is and how accessible it is, right? Where is your meter? The cost is gonna vary from there because I showed one time Tom one of the renovations I was doing, and I had to reach out to a clear out, and we had a broken pipe. It turned out to be 40-foot long.
Right.
And I showed him where we had to bring a little bobcat to dig the hole, and it could be for you, it could be 10 feet long. So it's half the cost. Right. So, but I would estimate anywhere from like 5 to 10K all in. You can get the plumbing done, you can get the electricity done, and water is easy. You just hook into the closest outlets that you have and you tap into it. It's the sewage that you have to dig for sometimes, and you find the clear outs. But yeah, 5 to 10, depending on the state you are.
So you could actually be in $50,000 or less. It sounds like with a really nice unit.
Yes, very reasonable. Yes.
Versus $200,000 for construction. That
yeah.
My experience half the time, and I can't speak to Seth, but the customers who brought me their projects, they're all 2/3 are disappointed with the project because it costs more, changes, didn't anticipate, and so I think the modular design solves some of that. So that's case one. Case two, obviously, as a real estate agent, would be just a studio, or I want a bedroom in the backyard for my kids. Same thing, I imagine, depending on what you put into it. But for $50,000 or so, it's not a $200,000 problem. It's a $50,000 issue. One of the cases you mentioned up front. Well, let me do this before we go any further. Let me just do some housekeeping and make sure we know, let me know what we're doing here and who we are. This is the official podcast for the LA County Real Estate Investors Association. You can go to our website, LARIC, LARIC.com. We have a free event in Los Angeles on the second Thursday every month. Upcoming on June 13th will be the topic of additional dwelling units, or ADUs, with really a master of this material, Seth Phillips. Now, again, the topic here, it covers some of the same things we're talking about here today, though Seth's more into the custom build market area. And here we're talking about a modular, but it's just some similar concepts. Definitely worth hearing his perspective as well. And then the Real Estate Vendors Expo is before that. We have about 50 vendors. I'm one of them. Modpadz is one of them. We can meet the people who do business there, ask them questions. In their case, look at pictures and see samples of what they're working on. And then separate from that is the foreclosure workshop. A lot of people interested in building their investment portfolio or their real estate investment business are interested in foreclosures. And one of the masters in LA has been Lloyd Siegel over the time. On June 29th, it's an all-day event, Saturday, 9 to 5 p.m. It's $249. Before June 22nd, though, it's $149. You can save money if you sign up now. Go to LAREIC.com and you'll be able to register for the event as well as the foreclosure workshop if you want to do that. This is the Cashflow Chronicles podcast.com, Cashflow Chronicles podcast.com, and you can sign up here and watch the episodes that come out, and then we'll give you a link to the YouTube, the Facebook, and so on. And our guests today are again Modpadz. We're lucky to have both Nick and Thomas from Modpadz, and that's modpadz.com. And pretty complete website with samples, and all the things I think we're talking about are there for you to look at as well. So let's talk about the other use case that perked my ears, because I've had customers approach me because I'm a probate. We often get these remnant lots that a customer will say, well, I'm going to dig my own well. I'm going to do my own solar with batteries. I'm going to, so that's electricity. I'll do a septic tank, on my own, but I have a lot and I want to, put a property on there. And there are mobile homes that do that. This, I guess, is kind of a competition to that product. Talk about this as a solution for those kinds of customers.
I'll let Tom go because he's been dealing with some lots.
Yeah, so that's a familiar story to us in terms of a local one here as well. And we probably got a little bit more expense there, Bill, to get things ready. Also, I mean, it could be a situation where you might have water but not sewer, all these sorts of things. But the deal is we're going to, work with you to make a plan. It would start with checking with the city, for any of their particular nuances that they might have in terms of what they're going to require. But yeah, that's a very interesting option. And, there's, I think it's June 1st is the bid for assets land auction is coming. And when I was sitting in the vendor expo last month, several people, were so attracted by the price, and they said, can you help me with the land? Right now, a lot of that land is terrible and not even have road access, but occasionally you find a piece that does. And then now you're in an interesting situation where if you've got access to an actual road, and I probably don't mean a dirt road, but now you're along the lines of what you were saying about making a primary residence, really.
Right.
And there's no reason why these couldn't be a primary residence. And then, you've got some more investment to put in a septic and drain field. You've got perhaps it costs several $1,000s to drill a well, depending on what the utilities mood is, how far you're paying maybe they give you 100 feet and you got to pay for the next 100, whatever the rules are for the local utility. But now you get to develop this far cheaper than purchasing, a finished home, certainly right. in LA County.
Well, I have a client who I'm going to send this episode to, because what he was doing was buying these remnant lots out in Kern County or Inyo County. And what he found was there people who wanted to live off the grid, and they wanted to live cheap. and maybe they're commuting to Vegas, but they could drive an hour and a half, or they're driving to Victorville and they could drive an hour and a half, but they could buy a property. The land might be $10,000-$15,000, and the mobile home he was buying, and then he figured out the solar and the septic and the water. So he built one, sold it at a profit, built another, sold at a profit. Well, he's like a mini builder. And that's all a builder does, right? Figures out a solution the market wants and does it repetitively. And so to me, there's a lot of people ask me about affordable housing in Los Angeles, and with mobile work available these days, and Starlink being such an attractive alternative and getting better all the time, what was impossible 4 or 5 years ago is now not only possible, but possibly profitable. So again, if you're one of those people looking to organize an off-the-grid experience, this might be a solution. Not only that, you could add a swimming pool to your off-the-grid living situation. Let's talk about, for anybody who wants to add a swimming pool, just because I'm a swimmer and I'm fascinated by that prospects, talking about the swimming pool product.
Right. So again, our swimming pool is we call it a swimming pool system, right? So we say just add water, because everything else comes with it. You'll get the pump, you get the filtration system. You can even add the heating elements in there. So if you're living in a cold, climate, you can add the heaters as well. All of the accessories at the back end of the pool or in the hidden end, and it's enclosed. You can even convert this to a saltwater pool system. Okay. So literally about 3 days ago, a lady calls me from California again, and she wants one of these, but she wanted to convert these into a saltwater pool. I'm like, no problem at all. And literally, she's building building on a land that she has some acreage, and she's going to drop this one and be it her forever escape house. And she's super excited. So we're actually going to build this for her. She's designing it. We are very flexible. We tell customers, hey, if you don't have an idea, just literally draw it on a piece of paper or a napkin and send it to us. We'll have our engineer draw the blueprints, and then if we will work with you till you're satisfied, and we'll send it to fabrication afterwards.
And I don't think these above ground pools require permits.
Yeah, so these are also very portable in nature. Okay, so you can definitely lift it, hoist it with a crane, and take it with you. Right, so they don't require anchoring, so to speak. They are. Once you add water, there's no force that's moving them anywhere. Right. They do come in 3 sizes. We have the 20-foot, 30-foot, and the 40-foot.
Does the pretty girl come with the pool?
That is an option. We can discuss offline.
I don't think I'd have the clear wall on mine, I'm afraid. I don't want to scare people.
Well, I want the clear wall to get some pretty girls to swim in my pool. I think that's so. You're talking about the 40-foot pool. Let's see, so 40 foot long.
40-foot long, and it's 8.2 to 8.4 wide.
The 40 feet is 13 yards, so that's about half of a competitive swim pool. Look, I'm a swimmer. I swim 3-4 days a week at legitimate pools. So some of these smaller pools don't make sense, but I know you can put one of those infinity systems in, so you swim in place is one. I know my coach also does one with a lanyard where you put it around your leg and you swim to get your arms only, or reverse for your legs only. But really, at the end of the day, what a convenient way to do that. And it's $47,000. It would cost you about $10,000 to get rid of a pool when you sell your house that they don't want. So this is a whole different solution that you could take to your next house with you, I guess, as an option.
Yeah, in Texas, if you're looking for a similar size pool, you're looking for 6 figures, at least. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And so we talked about ADUs, getting an additional unit, putting lots, swimming pools, obviously. I guess adding additional, like a pool house, you said, or other studios in the back room. So if you were to, prioritize, what's the most common use case that you're involved with of those? What's the most common one that you find that you're doing more of than the rest? Right. So we're getting a lot of, and this is a good problem to have. We've exploded in demand. It's just every day I get 4 to 6 inquiries that are of different, use cases.
Nice.
There are lots and lots recently that are thinking of these as investments, and they're building not 1 or 5. They're looking for 10 plus units. So they're going all in with some of our high-end products, which is the space capsule version. That is the Rolls Royce of the products. Comes with everything you can imagine. It's galvanized steel, aluminum alloy, automated, everything inside, integrated AC systems, automatic curtain, panoramic windows. I mean, I can go on and on and on about these modules. Okay, so this is the top of the line, and people are seeing this because if you build like an Airbnb park or a hotel park, depending on your location, you're asking $300 a night, right? About, if you, again, depends on your location, and you can either build a $500,000 home that will fetch you the same ROI, or you can put one of these, which is like 50K or less, right? Some of the big ones are a little bit more, it's under 60 maybe, but 50K is a good average size, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, kitchen, you know, full bathroom, everything included. All the furniture comes included. You can even deck it up with the media system, with the projector, skylight, automated shades on the skylight. So these are getting very popular for us.
And is this being done as a multifamily unit, a way to create a multifamily building, or what's the use case?
Yeah, the use case is resorts, Airbnb parks, commercial hotel strips. So even just this week, 2 investors from California have reached out to us. They want, one wants about 20 of them, one wants about 15 of these shipped to them, and they're creating a hotel park. Okay?
A hotel park of these units. Wow.
It's like a destination.
Yeah,
it's a destination.
Yeah, I'll give you another very, very exciting call I had with a gentleman in Miami, and he was actually building the traditional resort-style getaways, really slick. And they're going to build it inside of a rock formation, and then build a unit inside so it looks like a cave. And then he stumbled onto our website somehow, and then he calls me directly. He goes, "No, I want to talk to you directly on a Zoom call." I'm like, "Okay, great." We got on a Zoom call, and he said, "I am thinking of shoving your Apple Advanced cabins inside these caverns rather than building them, because it is fourth the cost, and yours is better." Right?
I can see, especially cases where maybe a multifamily has room for 4 more units. Maybe it's a 20-unit building, and they have room for 4 more. The cost to build 4 more is too much. The time and stress of building 4 with 20 other people, where's the construction going to go? Where's the equipment going to be? Yes. Whereas I imagine modular is much less friction. You could drop in 4 units and start renting a month later, I imagine, and you're up and running. So adding additional units, something like that might be another use case, I would think.
Yeah, and I do want to mention, so that's why I call the advanced cabin, it's like an open canvas. You can actually connect them together. So have a double wide or double long or triple wide, however you want it. And we can actually create villas of this. And we have requests coming in where the customers want in Finland, of all places. He wants a double wide with a balcony on top. So we're creating a 30 double wide villa for him with this.
Well, you know, I think I mentioned to you on our last call that I live in a modular house, in that I live in a traditional home. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath built in the 1920s, Spanish style, kind of common LA style house in West Los Angeles. The prior owner built a 2nd story that was modular. And my neighbor described to me the process. We've lived here 25 years. So it was probably about 30 years ago. He described the crane and how they dropped it in. It was a big deal. Now, I knew it was an add-on. I had no idea. Maybe after living for 20 years, I was talking to my neighbor. He mentioned, it wasn't him, it was this kid who was visiting his parents. He remembered the day they brought in the crane and what that was all about. I thought, really? It does seem a little discombobulated, but it works nicely. I mean, it's been a beautiful home for us. And so I think these are ways that we can more effectively solve problems, add some other solutions, thinking outside the box.
No, me and Tom are both solutions guys, right? So we're engraved in finding the solution. So if a customer mentions, "I want this," we'll figure it out for you. Okay. There are customers who are saying that, "I have no idea how to get a crane in." I said, "Don't worry about it. Just order it in once it's time to arrive. You know, we'll schedule the logistics for you, so it's ready for you. You know, and you just pay the crane operator. We don't make any money off of it, right? But we'll help you get it situated."
It's pretty interesting what the crane guys can do. They have capabilities beyond what you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it'd be fun. I don't know if you guys do any videos of the installations. I think that'd be great social media material. People love that stuff. I know my grandson goes nuts when we have construction going on a couple houses down. But anytime you have video of a crane install, shoot it to me. I'd love to share it with my group if we could.
No, 100%. And this was, I guess, when he sold a couple of units up at the front, we didn't think it was gonna be like a big hit and big demand. So we literally just was off hands. You know, it's like, okay, you shipped it, I ordered it, and you customized it a little bit, and it shipped to you, done. So we didn't do any social media. We didn't even have any footage because it was like blind, you know, like a dark one. So now we have orders in prefab right now, and we can't wait for them to touch land. Because most likely we're going to go to every one of these to film and document the whole process.
Well, fantastic. Well, look, I think one of the things also that always gives me confidence, for those of you watching this, the beauty, I think, of the vendors at the LAREIC.com program is there. You see a lot of people promise a lot of things, but when they're willing to show up in person, they have to deliver. They're responsible for the results. And so I know, Nick, you just sent Tom to the meeting because he's a pretty face. I get that. You're the brains and he's the good looks and charm. But the fact that you guys are there in person, I think, means a lot to me. And at that meeting, frankly, I've met vendors I've made a lot of money with. And I'd love to do some business with you guys down the road as well personally. So part of why I pick guests on this are people I think will be interesting to the listeners. Quite frankly, part of it is because I want to learn more about your business and also learn how do I have this solution when a customer has a problem to offer them the right solution. So I really appreciate your guys' time. Your website's amazing with all the details you offer. And I really salute you for the transparency. You guys have really laid out your costs, at least the basic costs, and have been willing to share with us the process. So both Nick and Tom, on behalf of our listeners, say thank you so much for sharing with us. Really appreciate it.
Just want to add to that. So there was a pain point for our customers that I was getting from day one. Can I finance this? Okay. So today we partnered up with one of the financing companies and it's live on our website. So now you can actually go and finance this unit to our website. It's a third party. Okay. Nice. So they can offer whatever. We don't have anything to do with it, but it's just partnered with us now. And I am also looking for partnerships right now in process with lenders who specialize in modular home financing. So that will be more like a financing of a home, your primary home or a secondary home. Right now we have financing as a product. Okay, but again, we're solving another problem because we're always looking to help our customers.
And Bill, I'd encourage everybody to come to the RIA in June. And I've got a video loop of Nick walking through one of the cabins in Waco, Texas. So it gives a little view of him walking through there. And, so people can come see it up close.
Fantastic. Well, again, thanks. I want to thank you guys and end up here real quick just with a quick promo again of the event coming up on June 19th. This is the LA County Real Estate Investors Association podcast. We do this live every Tuesday, 3 p.m., and then we live stream it to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you scroll down below, you can see a chance. We have our Vendors Expo June 13th and the presentation by Seth Phillips on additional dwelling units or ADUs. He's a master in that topic here in Los Angeles, as well as a chance to meet live in person Tom Brown at the Modpadz and me at the other Vendor Expo areas. So register. That's a free event. You're going to meet 50 people, get some good material and learning. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more, Lloyd Siegel's foreclosure workshop is on June 29th. And the tickets, if you pay for them now, are only $149. You can register as well online. Again, this is the Cashflow Chronicles podcast, cashflowchroniclespodcast.com. Love to have you sign up there. And then lastly, our guest today was Modpadz, MODPADZ. And if you go on the website, you see all kinds of information. You can literally go in. I did everything but click on buy. You go all the way through their products and see all the different types of products and how customizable they are. Fantastic website. Really appreciate them being with us today. Guys, thank you so much for sharing with us. Look forward, Tom, to see you in June. And Nick, I'm sure we'll talk soon.
We'll see you there.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much.